Bama officially announced, and this was something we were expecting, officially announced that Latrell Wrightsell is medically cleared and is being granted his medical red shirt for last season. Obviously, this is huge news that he is officially back. They had already previously announced that Houston Millet's red shirt had been cleared. Obviously, this is great news to hear, getting back a top 10 shooter in the country, the year that he took us to the Final Four. And, obviously Alabama, I think even last season in the games that he played, he was a huge difference maker in those games, right? Like looking back, if you look back at any of those highlights of just the few games he played last season, the floor was a completely differently spaced team. Alabama flowed differently with Latrell on the floor. What do you think kind of the biggest thing that he brings back to the team is? Obviously, we know what he is. He's been on this team for a couple of years now, but what do you think that obviously he brings in, especially like post Achilles?
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how much he actually, brings like athletically and mobility wise, because all the injuries that he's endured all since Cal State Fullerton. I mean, it's just been concussions and then Achilles, and had some knee troubles over there as well. And he's not getting any younger, and his body's not getting any younger. So it's going to be interesting to see what his minute distribution is going to be like coming into it. And they are deeper now with the additions they've had in the backcourt, especially with Houston Millett. And he's another one. It's like, how durable is he going to be going into the season? Because he could take a lot of pressure off Latrell just as much as Latrell can take pressure off of him minutes-wise, because they play the same positions. But having him back is huge, just because the floor kind of shrunk a little bit last year when Latrell went down and Houston went down, just because those are probably two of the best shooters on the team last year, especially considering Mark Sears struggled as much as he did, which Aiden Holloway, came into his own, and that helped tremendously. But it really came down to Mark and Aiden being the primary outside shooters last year. And if you added Latrell and Houston into that, would have been a lot more spaced floor. But he brings size for one. He's 6'3", 6'4"-ish. I got to see him up in person. He looks closer to 6'4", just because I am 6'2.5", 6'3". He is a little bit taller than me, but he brings size. He's a really good defender. I think that's one underrated aspect of him, is that he moved pre-Achilles, moved really well, kept his guy in front of him. But, I mean, you first look at his 43% three-point shooting on pretty heavy volume, especially the Final Four year. I mean, he's a guy that is, when he's not in there, you feel it, just because, I'm sure everybody saw the John Rothstein tweet today that Alabama was 10-0 when he scored double digits. And I mean, it's just huge for them. I mean, he's a catalyst off the bench. I don't know if he'll start next year. They'll probably ease him in and he'll come off the bench. But if you get guys like Aiden Holloway and Latrell Wrightsell or Houston Millett coming off the bench, I mean, it's about as deep of a team in the backcourt as you can imagine, shooting wise. So having him back, just, one more piece to the puzzle, and another guy that Nate Oates can kind of design to space the floor and kind of get him manufactured looks. And that'll be great for him. It'll be great for LeBaron Philon, Aiden Holloway, all the other creators on the team.
Yeah, and you talked about the manufactured looks. That was something that I don't know if you remember, but I know when Nate was asked about that 10-0 with Latrell being double digits, he was asked about it in a press conference during that Final Four season, and Nate kind of talked about that as being a barometer for how well the ball moved for that specific team, because he was like, we don't really draw up a lot of plays for Trelly. So when he's scoring in double digits, it really just means the ball's moving really well and it's finding him when he's open. And, I think that is something that you probably will see a little more this season. Obviously, with just the makeup of the team, I think you will be drawing up plays for him. You will be drawing up plays for Houston. And obviously, that's going to help get him some additional looks. I will say the thing that with the Achilles that does give me a little hope is Trelly's game was not built on just overwhelming athleticism. Right. Because of that, it wasn't like, oh, he was a guy that could jump out of the gym prior to his injury. Right. That was not what his basketball game was. And so because of that, that does give me some hope that he could be back to full, near 100%, right? Whether or not it's 100 or not, we'll see. But he could be closer back just because he wasn't relying on athleticism to, you know, be the difference maker in him versus another guy.
Yeah, correct. And I mean, it will be a little bit more pressure on those the creators, because you don't have a Mark Sears to bail you out this year. You have, a year two LeBaron Philon and year three Aiden Holloway, year two in Nate Oates' system. But I mean, you might have to drop a little bit more looks for him or Houston Millette, just um, early on before they actually get to gel together. Because a lot of these guys, while they played last year and maybe a year before under Nate, this collective group of guys haven't played a whole lot of minutes together. So you might see a little bit more manufactured looks. I know Nate doesn't do a lot of that, like you mentioned. Um, but a lot of the sets that he does run, typically out of horns, he likes to get his wing shooters, or his corner guys in the horns formation kind of come up off a flare, or a double drag or something, kind of getting some manufactured shots up. And guys like Latrell and Houston are going to be great in that role, just because they didn't really have anybody outside of Aiden last year that could do it.
Absolutely, 100%. And you kind of got into it there, and